Okay, in this lecture we're going to be talking about the COUNTIF and COUNTIFS functions. And the COUNTIF and COUNTIFS functions are very similar to the SUMIF and SUMIFS functions, except that instead of adding a range of cells, we're counting a range of cells based on one or more criteria. So let's look at an example from our sales rep sheet. And you can see that I've added another section down at the bottom here with our regions, East and West, and then our number of employees per region. So we're basically just going to do a simple count of our number of employees per region based on the criteria East or West. And then in this second column, we're going to count our number of employees per region based on East and West and based on the additional criteria of whether or not they've hit their target. So yes or no. And then we're just going to count them. And obviously in a small spreadsheet like this would be pretty simple to just look at and do on your own. But if you had hundreds or thousands of entries or employees, then this would be a really valuable calculation to bring back those numbers. So again, this is similar to the SUMIF and SUMIFs. So this should be fairly straightforward, and it should also help you to clarify a little bit how to do the SUMIF and SUMIFs. So of course we start with our equal sign, and we can go to our drop down, and there's my COUNTIF. Click on that. It'll bring up our function arguments. Put that somewhere where it's not going to get in the way of our calculation. And of course our range is the entire list of cells that we want to count. So that's our region. Then we click on criteria, and our criteria in this case is going to be the East region. Pretty simple. So then I click OK. And you can see that in the East region we have 2 employees, so it's counting 2. So that's correct. Copy our formula down. Okay, and one thing you'll notice is that when I copied that down, it kept the relative cell placement, so it actually shifted it down 1 level. So we need to correct that by deleting this and reselecting that to make sure that it's on the right region. Another way we could have done that is by using absolute cell references, using our dollar signs as anchors, like I showed you in a previous lecture. But it's really important to make sure that you do that so that you're on the right cells. So we'll click enter. And in our West region, we have 1, 2, 3. So that's also correct. Pretty simple. Then we'll do our COUNTIFs. And basically when you have an S added to the end of a function name, it usually just means that you are doing the same function but with multiple criteria. So in this case, we'll go to our COUNTIFs. We'll select our region. And our criteria 1 is still going to be East. And then our second criteria range is whether or not they've hit their monthly target. And then we're looking for people who have hit their monthly target, so we're going to put in yes here. And we'll click OK. And we can see that in the East region we have 2 employees, but only one of them has hit their monthly target. So that's correct. Copy our formula down. Okay, and we have the same issue with this one. So I'm going to double click on that, and you can see both of my cells have shifted down. So I can take these, highlight them, and shift them back up to where they belong. So we're in the right regions, and then hit enter again. And double check it, and you can see now it's on the right regions. And again, if you wanted to not have to do the correction on that, you could either create the formula here from scratch, or you could just go up here and put in anchors. And if you recall, you do anchors by highlighting this, hitting F4 like that, and it anchors it to that. And we have the number 2 for the West region. So we have, in our West region, we have 3 employees, and 2 of them have hit their monthly target. So that's also correct. So that's how you use the COUNTIF and COUNTIFs functions to count the number of employees per region, and using multiple criteria to count the number of employees per region who have hit their monthly sales goals.